Today, we are here to rank the worst dads in One Piece. This ain't no tier list, okay? We're not doing S, A, B, C, none of that. We're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no cop-outs. I'm on a crusade against tier lists.
We're counting. We're using numbers, okay?
My name is Judge Vince Smoke Michaels, and I freaking hate Sanji, dude. I can't stand him, dude. He's so weak. He's a disgrace. He's a disgrace.
You just had to say it.
And that's me in character. That's not Josh saying that. That is Vince Smoke, Judge Michaels saying that. And I'm joined by another deadbeat dad.
Okay, calm down. Hello. I am Mehgan Dragon Perrine. You may know me from The Revolutionary. You may know me as being the world's best dad. Very hands-off method of parenting, and I'm here to cause trouble.
Okay, let's start a revolution.
Why not?
But it's not just us today. Today we are joined by a very special guest. This man is truly a legend, so much so that it's in his name. Please, everybody, make some noise and welcome the one, the only J.D. Legend.
Let's go.
Hello, everybody. I am JD Yassup Legend. I left my son at the young age of about 1, I think. I don't know. I don't know if he even saw him. But anyway, yeah, I was just out here chasing dreams. Who doesn't want to chase dreams? I wanted to inspire my son from afar because I feel like that's, fatherhood and piracy doesn't really work. So I feel like it was better I wasn't there. Yep. So that's how I justify my actions. But in reality, I'm a terrible father. But it's okay. It's all right.
I think dreams are way better than kids, dude. Am I right?
You kind of meshed both together.
That's Judge saying that.
You kind of meshed both. You use your kids as your dreams. You made them
right.
experimented on them.
Yeah. Right. You're right. The only girl I'm married to is Science.
Ooh,
am I right?
That was good.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for cosplaying and dressing up as another member of the Bad Dad Club. Today we are here. I thought it was getting blurred out.
No, it's me. It's my background. I was like, wait, what's going on here?
I thought it was censorship. I was like, damn, Jay's professional. He's censoring out the weapon, dude.
4 kids.
4 kids. Like I said, today we're going to rank the worst dads in One Piece. Some of them might not deserve to be on this list, Jay. I'm just putting that out there right now. But we'll see. So I have a screen, a graphic set up. It might get hot. It might get heated. It might get, we might have a debate. It might turn into a debate.
Flame, what is it? Giamboy?
Yeah.
That one.
That one, Megan. That one, exactly. Thank you. So as you can see here, we got a nice little cover page. Maybe we'll turn it into a poster, put it, hang it on your wall.
Yeah.
We also have the worst dad mug down here. And maybe the number one, the dad who takes the number 1 spot, maybe we'll actually put him on a mug.
That'd be cool.
That'd be kind of cool. Oh,
world's worst dad.
World's worst
in
dad.
the world.
Yeah.
Not only in fiction.
Yeah, not just in fiction, in the world.
Do we, all 3 of us, vote who the worst one is combined at the end? Is that what we're going to do?
Well, we're going to have to, that's why I said it could get a little heated because we're going to have to all agree on the placement of these dads. And I'm curious. I'm a little scared, actually, because I'm nervous for your reaction to some of these people on this list. We'll see if you approve of all of them being on here or not.
Okay, we'll see. I can get pretty animated, so we'll see. This will be fun. This is great.
So let me pull this up. Let me make sure we're all good here. And let me reveal to you the worst dads of One Piece. And the nominees are...
I can see why the fear and trepidation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, I kind of understand. We'll see.
Okay.
Slightly.
So just in case, people can't see all that well, we got Yassup, of course.
Of course.
We got Morgan. We got Shanks. We got Dragon. We got Doflamingo's dad, Homing.
Oh, poor Homing.
Yeah, poor Homing. He's someone I don't know if he deserves to be on this list, honestly.
He does. He does. No, it's just not, spoiler alert. I agree.
Okay. We got Judge. I don't think Judge deserves to be on this list, dude. And that's Judge saying that, not Josh.
You're
We got
one to judge.
that was good.
Thank you.
We got Kaido. We got Garp. We have Outlook the Third. What is he? A freaking Microsoft program?
For real.
And we have Gold D. Roger.
Wow. That one is a little on the fence. That one depends on who you ask, but
And I know you only see 5 here, but underneath these images are the other 5 places. So I guess let's just get started. I don't know how we go about starting. If
I
we
know.
start,
Should we start from the bottom to the top?
I feel like we should start from. We should just maybe place some people in certain slots. We could change things around. We're not locked in till we say we're locked in.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
Got it.
But I'm curious. Well, I guess let's go through them as we have them here.
Okay.
And then let's see where we maybe want to place them, and then we'll change it up at the end.
Yasip, damn. Okay.
So let's start
Starting
with Yasip.
off strong.
Since we have Yasip here with us today, Jay, you know, I don't know if you know, maybe you are aware. I think you might be. Mehgan is on a crusade against Yasip for doing what he did to Usopp. I mean, come on, dude. He's a great guy. He's an amazing human.
Yasip?
No, Usopp.
Oh,
Usopp.
okay. You scared me for a second.
Sorry.
I was like, wow, that's very nice of you to say.
No, sorry. I see how that got a little confusing.
I went, huh?
No.
I mean,
Usopp.
you're a defender of Yasip for sure. I've heard you defend his shit multiple times, and then it gets brought up, and you're like, "Oh, let's defend Usopp," and I'm like, "Which side are you on?" Because you keep flipping, you keep switching.
No.
You're like, the sea called to him. The sea called to him like that's a valid excuse, and I
It
just
did.
want to know. Where do you lie? This is the ultimate test. Where do you lie?
I'm not gonna say he's the number one worst dad on this list. I'm not gonna say that. But Jay, or Yasip, compared to some of these other dads, like, what are we feeling? Where are we feeling Yasip falls? And if you want to make a case for why he's a really bad dad, or maybe not the worst dad, not a good dad. There are no good dads on this list. Then feel free to make your case.
So, since I'm technically on a good pirate crew, even though I don't know if we say we're pretty good people, we're just pirates, we just do bad things occasionally. I know I'm not evil. Not evil. So automatically, that puts me below a few guys. Kaido and Judge. I would consider Judge pretty evil for the most part.
Yeah.
Outlook. I'd say I'm not as bad as Outlook because my sin is absence. Now, some of these guys' sin is abuse. So I feel like what's better, abuse or absence? I'm taking absence for 500 personally for me. Because at the same time, I can still walk back in, and your only issues are abandonment issues, not like abuse issues.
True.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's so I feel like at the bare minimum, I'm saying Outlook, Kaido, Morgan for sure. Oh my God, Morgan was a terrible person. Judge. And if I'm really want to push it, I think I'm less bad than Homing. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. That's just me.
Okay.
I think Homing had a good heart, but when you subject your children to abuse based on your own ignorance, because I think ignorance is his biggest sin.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, well, at least Usopp looks up to me. Like, how does your son view you? How do your kids view you? I'm still a trash dad. I'm not gonna deny that. Honesty is our policy here on the Shanks School. So I'm still trash for sure. I'm still scared to see my son, so I'm still trash.
Right.
But my son still looks up to me, and that works in my favor.
It really does.
It does. And I'm going to ask Yasip a question now. Not Jay. I'm asking Yasip. Yasip, why are you so afraid to meet Usopp? Is it because you think that secretly he might be better than you, or?
Oh no, never. No one's ever better than me. I mean, I split the eye of an ant. Until Usopp does that, and I know this is going to be controversial to a lot of my fans, and the guy who's writing my story, obviously, but Usopp doesn't use a gun. I mean, come on. Look, come on. All right? Come on.
Usopp's on that Dennis the Menace shit.
He's on the... Listen, we're in the pirate world, guns, swords, a slingshot, son. Come on.
Come on.
Come on. It's time to upgrade. If you want to meet your dad, get a gun, then I'll meet him. That's it. That's my excuse. He doesn't have a gun, so I'm not meeting him until he gets a gun. That's it.
Well, from one bad dad to another, dude, I respect that.
I want my kids to have guns, dude.
I told I built guns inside of my kids. Okay, my kids.
Exactly.
Whoa.
My kids are
Exactly.
guns. Are
That's
weapons.
true.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Except for one.
Well, we don't talk about him. He sucks.
You
Talk
sucked.
Literally don't talk about it.
Yeah, we don't talk about him. Anyway, okay, that's a great point.
That was
Mehgan,
a good case. That was a good case.
How are you feeling about that? And where are you feeling when it comes to Yasip?
He's definitely not number one. I will say that. Out of all these, like, because there are bad dads, but there are also bad people. I mean, there's a lot on this list, okay? Or monsters, I guess you could say. But right now, out of everyone, I'm gonna have to put maybe Yasip somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
Maybe not top 5. Maybe not top 5 because there's like so many other people on this list. So I would put him maybe like 6 or 7.
I was thinking
right
like
now.
5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
around that little, around that block. You know.
Yeah, like right around there.
I agree with what you guys are saying because I think Jay made a really good point. You know, being absent isn't as bad as being abusive. You know, I think being an abusive father is a far worse crime.
Yeah.
And while he's not a good dad, and Yasip did he just got called to the sea. You know, listen to the song Brandy too many
The sea
times.
called me. I can't.
Yeah.
When the call comes, you gotta answer. You can't just hang up on the sea.
No, he picked up real quick. He picked up real quick. And that's kind of wild. And, you know, people defend him and say, you know, he didn't know his wife was sick. His wife wasn't, you know, sick.
Oh, I forgot about my wife. Shit.
I've been single for so long.
I've been so single for so long. I just forgot I had a
We
wife.
in the sea have been doing what we've been doing for so
Was she
long.
even my wife? Really? I don't know. I don't think we even got married personally. I don't know.
I mean, maybe you just had a kid, you know?
Mhm.
I think baby mama. I think.
Baby mama. So yeah, people like to make excuses for Yasip, but you know, he definitely didn't have the greatest reason in the world for leaving.
No.
I think that, you know, we talk
But
about
over
absence.
Dragon,
I think
no.
Dragon had a better reason.
I mean,
for
he had a
being
better
absent.
reason for being. Yeah, he had a calling. It wasn't just the sea. It was like
Right.
I'm gonna change shit.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, he had a purpose. You know?
Yeah, Yasip was just kind of like, I want to be a pirate. Like,
Right. So we'll keep Yasip there
Okay.
for now. We're not locked in yet. Now let's move on to Shanks. Movie Red sort of kind of changed.
Ooh.
Film Red changed things
Yeah.
for Shanks.
Yeah.
And made him, honestly, a really also bad dad.
spoilers for Film.
I mean, you've seen it. If you're watching this, you've seen
If
it.
you haven't seen it now, I honestly just suffer. That's it. That's all.
Yeah. It's not a great dad.
Yeah. No. Yeah. He really like gaslit her.
Yeah.
He really gaslit her
Aggressively.
into
And
staying.
just left her.
Yeah.
Left her on an island that had been like decimated
Yeah. Decimated with one old man.
with one other.
With an
Gordon.
old man. You know.
Yeah.
Good thing he was a cool, chill old man.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Yeah. Honestly.
got real lucky with that one.
Yeah.
And then just sort of didn't even give her any sort of peace about, like, kind of let her think,
He
you know, the worst.
Yeah.
Kind of let Luffy think the worst. Like,
manipulates the fuck out of children. He
Yes, he
loves to
does.
manipulate children.
He's a snake. It really is. He really is. That's my
really
captain, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I learned from the best. I learned from the best. That's all I'm saying.
He was in your ears and like, leave your wife. and
yeah.
He said, just leave the kid. Come on, just
You'll be,
I did it to mine. You
I've
can
done
do
it
it to yours. Just get out.
twice.
Yeah, I do it all the time. It's so chill, dude.
So easy,
So
and you feel
chill.
so good, and you never have to see them again.
Yeah.
All the pirates are doing it. It's all right.
But what it comes down to is, are we putting Shanks? I would kind of say, are we making him? So obviously, number one is the worst dad. Are we? Is he a worse dad
I mean, again, we're talking like
than Yasip?
dad versus people. You know, it's like if they have both like the classification of like a bad person and a bad dad just by default, like obviously, I don't know that Shanks is a bad person. Maybe
We
he
don't know.
is.
Jury's
We don't
still out
know.
on that-
I'm
on
still,
that.
We still
I'm
don't
still,
know. Yeah,
I'm
that's
still
what saying.
sussed about him though. For real, I think he's.
I'm
I think
sussed
he's
out by
gonna-
him too,
yeah.
for sure. For sure.
Everyone in Dragon judging us. We're like, we're sussed out for sure.
We're sussed out. I'm
So
sorry.
then I would say, is he better or worse than me? We can use that as a
Mm.
barometer.
Yeah, let's use that. What do you think, Megan?
Shay's kind of like he did it with 2 kids, right?
Well, I mean, you know,
Technically,
I guess if you're counting Luffy, you're throwing Luffy in there, I guess. But
I would put him below Yasip. I think.
Jay, how do you feel about that?
Do you put any stock in him at the end of Film Red?
Yeah.
Do you put any stock in that? Because Yasop still didn't see Usopp.
That's true.
He was there, and Yasop was like, "Oh, I feel my son." And was like,
I feel him.
But he still didn't see him.
You know what? That's such a great argument because at least he gave Uta some closure and was there for her in her final moments.
Bro, in the very end, he said, "I can be with you for max 5."
Yeah. Call me.
I got 5 right now.
Call me when you're about to wrap things
My
up.
schedule is like, I gotta go village and you know a few things, you know.
Yeah. So I think that argument alone, Jay, is enough to sway me and say that he is at least better than Yasop for that because Yasop had the same opportunity. He had the same
He
chance.
was so close, bro, to Usopp for a year. When Shakes was with Luffy, he was there with him.
And people might make the argument. People watching might make the argument that, oh no, but he connected, through hockey. He was able
in
to
the movie.
talk.
I don't give a shit.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah, that's like breaking up with someone over a phone.
Yes.
It's like do it in person. Talk to me in person.
Yeah, it's like, you send you a text. Hey, I still care about you. Meanwhile you're in a hotel with another guy. Like, come on, that's just not enough.
Yeah,
No.
Right.
you don't need to do that.
It's like you're.
Why even do it at all?
Exactly.
That's what it felt like.
Don't even send the text because you're not doing nothing with it. It's just like
Exactly. So
Okay.
I'll say for now, I think that's a super solid argument. He's definitely better than Yasop. This brings us to homing. Jay, I'm really curious.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of started a little bit, and I was really intrigued. Ignorance definitely played a big part in him being not a great dad, but I want to hear you elaborate a little bit.
So I think his heart was in the right place for sure, which is always good. And you want to instill that in your children. But the thing that I've noticed is that a parent's role in their life is to raise their children correctly so they're functioning members of society. If Homing had this morality in place, he should have done everything in his power to instill that in his children. The fact that Doflamingo did not have that instilled in him is his fault. At the end of the day, I know it's harsh, but parenting is hard. It's a harsh reality, and Doflamingo's obviously a really ratty kid. And he's just like, bro, I don't like this anymore. Let's get away from Mary Joas. So not only do you fail to teach your kid morality when, if we're going into child psychology here, you can train your kids pretty early to do right from wrong. Doflamingo clearly didn't know right from wrong. I don't know how that happened. Maybe it's his environment, because environment does train kids as well.
Sure.
But again, as a parent, at a very young age, you have control over that environment. So you should have done better to stop your child from seeing that environment. Or you could live in a private area, Mary Jo's. You could have done so many different things. I mean, you could have lived on a Marine base, for God's sakes.
Right.
But no, you wanted to live among the people. Knowing that your perception of the people, how they treated you, not only do you subject your wife, your children, and your sons to this, but then you're breeding more hatred in a child.
Yep.
So, I mean, the crucifixion stuff, at this point, it's like, it was ignorance, it was negligence, it was a lack of understanding of the world around you. And then you also failed to instill morality in Dofi, but somehow it worked for Rocinante. So like, what's going on here? Like, I feel like it's very harsh on homing, because when your heart's in the good place, there's a lot of people where their hearts are in the good place, but they're still really bad parents.
Yeah.
And we've seen an example of that all over the place. There's deadbeat dads out there. They're probably not bad people, but they're terrible people and they're villains to their parents. Homing is that example of a dad who is permanently a villain to his child. Therefore, he's got to be. This is tough.
I just want to say you should be like a lawyer in custody battle.
Yeah.
That was like really good, dude. Because I when I was putting it together, obviously I was like, homing, we got to kind of throw him on there, but it is hard and tricky because his heart was in the right place, and he did want. He was trying
but how
to do his best.
selfish? He was super selfish in what he
Hella
wanted
selfish.
to accomplish,
Right.
and he put his kids at risk for all of this hatred. And he gave Dofi an origin story. Like, he straight up gave him a villain origin story. Like, straight up. Like, I hate
And
these people.
also,
They hate
like,
me. Like, why should I even give a shit? Like,
not even putting in the time to kind of see where the world was at. I mean, this is a very obvious thing. Like, everybody was telling him
Everyone.
Everybody.
People were warning him, and instead of saying like, "I'm gonna look into this. I'm gonna kind of see what
Let me
this
do
is
some
all
research.
about." Yeah, let me do a
Yeah,
little bit of research
yeah.
before I put my whole family.
Yeah, go by yourself then.
Yeah.
Go
I-
do it
thank you. I
yourself.
was just about to say that.
Yeah, go do it yourself. Test the waters, and
Yeah.
then maybe when you get crucified and your family doesn't, maybe you'll think twice about bringing them to the fight. Yeah, it
Exactly.
doesn't make any sense.
And maybe I could even give him a little bit more leeway if Doflamingo, Corazon, they were already older.
Mhm.
But the fact that he did, I mean, they were children. Like he took his like infant children into the put them in the worst possible
The
situation he could.
worst situation.
And like Jay was saying too, like really bred more hatred through Doflamingo,
Mhm.
even though his heart was in the right place. I mean, you really.
You moved Judge right now. You
yeah,
you
you
made him
moved
think about
me.
his own negligence
Yeah,
for his
you
fucking
moved me.
He's
kid.
thinking about it, like, So I would actually, because I think Garp is the same side of the other coin. So I'd
Ooh.
actually put homing 5. I'm not gonna lie. Personally,
Oh, wow.
I'd put it
Okay.
5.
Okay,
I'd put it-
okay.
Are you
Yeah.
okay with
Yeah,
that
no,
for now?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, let's do that for now, and let's see how things shake out. So we have Kaido next.
Ooh.
Kaido.
How you feel?
For me personally, Kaido falls into the abusive category.
Definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Without
You know,
question.
so-
Yeah.
So he's definitely above. He's definitely above everybody so far.
Mhm, mhm.
He did so many horrible things to Yamato, imprisoned, starved.
I mean, put a death trap, pretty much, saying like, "I'm gonna shackle you,
Yeah. It was just overbearing.
and if you take them off, you'll explode."
Yeah. Really, really horrible shit. So Kaido to me, I think would definitely, and I definitely want to get your guys' opinions. I would even say might be definitely top 3.
Definitely top 3. I'm thinking maybe
right now 2.
2.
I'm thinking right now 2, but I want to hear you and Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, what about you? How are you feeling about it?
I definitely agree with the top 3. Kaido, his parenting is so interesting because he's evil. He kind of wants to kill everybody and everything. Respects pronouns for some reason, so that was very interesting.
That's what I said when we were talking about it. I was like, at least he kind of,
Yeah, and everyone's like,
You know-
"Wait, why did he say that?" And I'm like, "Why do
That's
you
what I'm
think?"
saying. To me,
Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense. Oda didn't
Right.
even explain it. Kaido's just
Right.
like, I bet you got it. So I'm like, all right, well, Kaido, that's a very unique character trait. So, one quarter in the morality bucket, I guess.
yeah.
But in terms of, obviously the beatings and the abuse and then starving and then saying, LOL, I'm just going to leave these 3 samurai that despise me locked in here with you.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
then I'll give him this. I love, if you're going to be a terrible person, at least be funny. And Kaido, saying Yamato's like, yo, I thought he's like, wait, I'm your daughter. And he was like, oh, wait, I thought you were Odin. And he laughed and just walked out of the game. If
That's
anyone
not-
saw my reaction to that, I laughed for maybe 3 minutes straight. Like, just could not stop laughing because it's just so petty.
And it's such a like typical dad joke. Like,
Oh my
I'm
God,
hungry. Oh, your name is Hungry? You're hungry? It's like,
Oh, you're
damn,
hungry.
shit.
Yeah, that's the
I'm
that's
thirsty.
the alcoholic side of it.
Yeah.
Too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, huh, okay. I was like, all right, Kaido, at least you're funny about it, right? So, he did have aspirations. He did want Yamato to kind of, be actually his second hand. And, hey, I'm going to give you Wano. Doesn't justify anything, but it's like when we're ranking really terrible dads, you think about the small gestures that
Yeah.
show a possible sign of like, hey, still might be good to you if you just followed my way.
Mm.
Unlike, my other top 2 and another guy in there as well. So, that's tough.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
Because we need to get to the other ones, right? Until I move
Right.
him. So I would say
Yeah.
I'd put him at 3 for now. I'd put him
Okay.
at 3.
Okay.
All right,
That's what I do.
let's do that. Now we have Microsoft Outlook the third himself,
God
the father
damn.
of the wholesome daddy, Sabo.
Oh, yeah.
We love Sabo. And Outlook.
Poor Sabo.
Okay, I don't know. How are you guys feeling about Outlook? Because he definitely was verbally pretty abusive.
Yeah. Yeah, not a good guy.
Was he physically abusive? So
I'm pretty sure. There's definitely some off-screen physical abuse somewhere. There has to be.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. It's heavily implied. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say let's go with he was physically abusive.
Okay, yeah. Just a bad.
So
bad.
so he's definitely that. I'm just saying because then
I
that
don't
would
think he's
definitely
top.
that would put him, above all the rest.
Homing.
Above, above, below.
Below.
Or above. Yeah, above, sorry. Homing and Yassip and Shanks.
I don't know.
But
I mean, he was pretty just like
he
evil,
showed,
but over homing, like, I don't know.
well, let's get Jay's thoughts because you're so insightful, dude. And I'm just kind of piggybacking off of you at this point because you're looking at it through a real deep lens, dude, and I like it.
If there's one thing I love about the story is like I love looking psychologically into these characters and seeing like their motivations and seeing how Oda's trying to depict them.
Yeah.
And when I think about Outlook, I think what surprised me is how quickly he found a replacement son after he kind of realized Sabo was like defective.
Right.
And he's like, oh yeah, let me just adopt this guy because he'll be a better product. They weren't worried about Sabo at all as a human being, period. At all. Sabo was just a means to success. So to me, Sabo's just a walking money machine, a walking value. So they had no regard for Sabo's humanity at all. With Kaido, like we said, morality bucket, quarter morality bucket. He acknowledged Yamato as a human. It's just that Yamato was rebellious.
Yeah.
Sabo tried. He just wasn't good enough. And when he wasn't good enough, they threw him aside.
And you're right. You're right in saying that it didn't matter who he was. They didn't care about his personality at all. They didn't care about what he was interested in. If he cared about, doing any of the things that they were trying to get him to do.
And he was also rebellious to an extent. Like,
sure, but
he wanted to do. Every kid was, He's like, I want to just like do this, and they're like, no, we're gonna get a son that listens to everything we say all the time and just is better than you. So
yeah, I'm surprised they didn't rename him Sabo. Honestly.
Oh, Sabo 2.
Sabo 2, because he's Outlook the Third. They named him Sabo 2.
They're like, it's too much. We don't remember a new name.
Yeah.
Oh my God, should have named him Gmail or something.
But I think that's such a good point because that is exactly what happened, and that is exactly their style of parenting. Like they were just looking for someone to achieve their goals through, with a complete disregard for who they actually were as a human being.
Yeah,
most parents do.
Some parents actually do that.
They're like, you're a child, you don't know anything, and you don't want anything because we know what's better.
Or they're trying to vicariously live through them or use them as a way to like level up their own status.
Yeah.
Now, the only benefit I'd give them, I mean, again, this is a place out of pure selfishness, but they did try to track him down when he ran away because at the end of the day, he is a valuable piece because he is of nobility. So if he's going to be useless, they can at least marry him off. This is the Judge playbook, obviously. But like, I don't know if that counts for anything at all, but they did at least want him around and in the house.
But
Kaido,
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if they really did, and were they concerned because their bag of status, their bag of whatever, got away, or was it that they really actually genuinely cared about Sabo's life,
or was it like their reputation of like, oh yeah, he ran away,
and their reputation for sure, how that was going to look, that was going to be a stain on their reputation for sure. So I don't know if I can give them even that.
Yeah. And even Shanks, I mean, I'm trying to think of like where to rank it because Shanks, obviously left Uta, had his relationship with Luffy, but like I would say Outlook's maybe worse.
Worse than who?
Worse than Shanks, because Shanks was never
for sure.
like verbally.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's definitely worse
abusive.
Is he really? Honestly, is he just worse than homing? Is what I'm trying to decide. It's like
I think homing is like the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are we thinking? What are we feeling? This is a tough one.
It's just like homing. The repercussions for what happened are a little more severe. Like the result of his parenting has affected a lot of people. Sabo's done a lot of good versus Doflamingo's done a lot of bad.
Yeah, they are, but this is how they. I mean, definitely parenting can be a reflection. I mean, your child sort of reflects to a degree. But I think that there's a lot that makes you who you are. And like Jay was even saying, environment and other factors. So, I mean, we can't necessarily hold everything that Doflamingo's done against Homing.
I mean, I would put Outlook above Homing then.
So he's worse than Homing.
I would say.
So
what do you think?
So I would say that too, but here I just found a way to like spin this. If I'm like really trying to push an agenda against Outlook against Homing, I would spin it that there's so many different ways to parent your kid. And Outlook tried his best to make Sabo be a functioning member of society. And I genuinely believe if Sabo was, up to standard, that they would actually be like, yo, look at my son, look at him, yada, yada, yada. Like some parents have a weird thing like that. If they want to brag about their kids and if Sabo actually really passed the test, I'm pretty sure Outlook still would have been like, all right, my son is doing this, he's doing that. We take care of him, make sure he's good. Fine. He didn't really use his ignorance to put his son in a bad situation. It was more that Sabo just didn't want to do these things and they just didn't care. So in a sense, his parenting method has been successful. Homing's parenting method is just downright just ridiculous. It's like there's no justification for the behavior. It's just ignorance. At least Outlook understood the world he lived in and tried to put Sabo in a position to be a functioning member of society. Okay. So that is one way you could push it.
Because where I'm starting to get a little stuck. I'm definitely not saying like Kaido is necessarily worse than Kaido, but and maybe I'm more hesitant because I'm trying to take Kaido's like his own status and his own power level like out of it. It's just about his parenting, just about what kind of father he is. And Outlook and Kaido are very similar in that way. Like you were saying, if Yamato would have been the type of child that Kaido wanted, him to be,
and didn't say like I'm Odin.
Yeah, then I'm
your
sure,
worst enemy.
Then I'm sure he would have been like, yeah, fuck yeah, like let's drink together, let's take over the world together, like let's chill together, like
let's chill.
Let's chill together. Let's actually hang out.
Let's actually hang out. Not in the cell. But yeah, he's a worse person because
he did a lot of stuff. Yeah,
Outlook is not a good person either. But
no.
But I think Kaido is putting more. I mean, inadvertently, Outlook is kind of a disregard for life as well with all of those people. But I'm saying, do you understand what I'm kind of getting at? Do you guys agree that their parenting styles are almost sort of similar? Where if Sabo would have done what Outlook wanted him to do, he would have been a doting father, and maybe the same with Yamato and Kaido. Or do we disagree there?
Kaido's methodology, I didn't think regardless of what Yamato wanted to do, I still think Kaido would have been abusive. Him. Because he was like depressed over the whole Joy Boy thing. So I think he was already in that state of mind where it's like, if you're not strong, well, I'm going to beat you into being strong. Right. And I think that was the early stages of Yamato's life that made Yamato miserable. So I think Kaido just made Yamato miserable, period. Because
regardless,
I think Kaido was going to make Yamato miserable because at least with Sabo, it's like he wanted to try and like live up to his parents, but then his parents kind of threw him away. And that's when Sabo's like, all right, well, I kind of hate it here. Like I don't want to be here.
Kind of hate it here.
Yeah. Kind of hate it.
Yeah,
I hate them.
And in defense of Homie. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. It's okay. I was just saying
in defense of Homie, at least he cared. I know he cared about Doflamingo. I know he cared about his kids. So you can at least give him the fact, because at the end of the day, you have to accept your kids. Even if they don't end up the way you want them to be, you have to accept them for who they are. And Homing at least did that. That's the bare minimum. So that's where I would put Outlook over Homing. Just on that fundamental parenting level.
Yeah. I think that's where we're at. I agree 100%. Mehgan, do you agree?
Yeah. Homing's it's just like he's really getting saved by his naivete. What's the word? It's just so ignorant and ignorance is bliss. Like he really thought he was just gonna make everything work. Right. And he was gonna be the one to change shit. Like, and his kids paid the price.
Yep. His whole family did.
Yeah, they really did.
And he did. All right, now we got Morgan.
Ooh.
Axe Hand. Now, Jay, this is actually somebody that you wanted to make sure was on this list.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think it's only fair that you start us off here with Morgan. Another example of an abusive.
Really early on.
Yeah. And probably maybe honestly, maybe one of the first bad dads we get, or maybe, or are we saying the first outside of Shanks and. He's one of the first bad dads.
One of the first ones. Yeah.
Because at least we thought Shanks was cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Morgan was just trash off rip. Like Morgan is absolutely bottom of the barrel garbage. And what makes it even worse is all the arguments we made. Helmeppo tried to be everything Morgan wanted him to be. Like Helmeppo was a rat, like a really, really ratty kid. Like, oh my God, like my daddy's this, my daddy's that. Yeah. And then the rubber meets the road. He's like, bro, you're a disgrace. like every day I wake up, you make me sick. Like that is the energy that he gave him. Yeah, like Morgan is garbage. Like there's no justification. There's no redeeming qualities. There's not even a hint of love and care. He said the only reason I've even bothered to save you is because of my name, of my reputation. Yep. That's it. So yeah, no, he's gotta be. He might be top one. I'm really thinking about it. He might be number one. Yes.
No, he is really bad. He is really bad.
Terrible.
Yeah, everything that you said. He like straight up was like, I would do everything for you, Dad. Like my dad's the best. He's awesome. You guys are gonna pay.
He was kind of a Stelly. You know, he was kind of a little bit of a Stelly.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe if Helmeppo would have had Outlook as a father, it would have all worked out.
It would have definitely. Oh my goodness.
Swapped him.
Yeah, all worked out. But that's a great point that he wasn't accepting of Helmeppo, even though Helmeppo was trying so fucking hard to seek his father's approval, and he was never going to be enough. And that sucks, dude. That's so fucking ugly.
Yeah, and to be told that shit like straight to your face.
Yeah, that you're just never going to be enough because
you're trash. I mean, I'm never going to like you. We're never going to be cool.
That's crazy.
We're never going to be tight like that. I don't know why you keep trying so hard. So top one or
I don't know about one. I'm comfortable right now putting him at 2.
Okay.
And then maybe we'll reassess it. We're not locked in.
Because we still got a heavy hitter coming up.
We still got one. And it's only because of one heavy hitter. It's only because of one heavy hitter. You know what? I'll put him at 1 now for now. But then when we get to that heavy hitter, we'll see if he stays there, if he moves.
He's unmovable.
He's unmovable. Now we have
Dragon.
Of course, Dragon. Everybody's excuse for Dragon is that at least Dragon was there for Luffy at a certain point in his journey to see him off, to protect him from Smoker and Tashigi and the government. He is absent for a very good reason, to make the world that his child lives in better, even if that means sacrificing a relationship with his child.
It's a child in everyone, who's living in this world too. So it definitely comes from like a good place. And he's not ignorant like Homing. No.
He knows.
But I would say that, you could say all that. And then once like Sabo came into the picture and you realize like, oh, Sabo's been chilling with Dragon this whole time.
Right.
And he treated him like he treated him like a fucking son. Like that's his baby boy. Like they are tight.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have a real son. Like you can contact him.
Why did you not want to bring him?
Why did you not want to bring him with you on your mission? You know his shit. Like you know what he's doing.
He's got no mom.
No mom. Your dad's watching him, and beating the shit out of him. Like every day, and be like, be a Marine, be a Marine, be a Marine.
Honestly, low-key Garp, I love the fuck out of Garp, but Garp was a little abusive.
He was a child abuser. Oh my god,
this propaganda's hurt my soul.
I mean, it hurts me too. But I told Josh he needs to be on this list.
I love Garp. I didn't even want to put him on this list. I said no.
So it's you. Okay. All right.
If we look at the facts, okay? We're talking about abusive fathers, okay? Mm-hmm. He has a very contentious relationship with his son, which is Dragon. I thought there would be 2 generations on this list, and I just had to put them together. Yeah, because one is a representation of the other.
He needs his trial in court. He needs due process, and that's what we're here to give him.
Yeah. But Dragon. Back to
Dragon, sorry.
Yeah, he's treating Sabo like his he's treating him like a son, and he's being more of a dad to Sabo than he ever was to Luffy. So it made me think like, damn, like this is kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Maybe he just thinks that Luffy really doesn't care.
Well, again, I think that the difference is that Sabo was sort of already in that situation. and Luffy could be left out of it still. Like with Sabo, there wasn't really much of a choice. It was like send him back to this like horrible place in this horrible situation, or just like, and he found him and he didn't know, he found him in the sea. So I don't know. At least with Luffy, he knew that he could trust maybe his father.
I mean, he ran away from his dad.
Well, that's just because of their conflicting ideals and things like that. Right? I mean, but he's not a bad guy.
He's just absent. He's just absent.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, Garp, you mean?
No, yeah. Like, he didn't leave him with like a monster. He just left him with someone who like he kind of disagrees on like, some things with like politics, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, Dragon. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say he's in the top 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. I think he's bottom. I think he'd be more of the bottom. What do you think, Jay? What do you think?
So I would say he's under Shanks, and it's for very specific reasons. Because I agree with your aggression towards Dragon. But he did save Luffy.
Yeah.
At least
twice.
Twice.
Right. Yeah.
Great Terminal.
Yeah.
The Wind. He saved Luffy twice. Granted, off screen, still didn't show himself, taking the Yasub route. But he made an attempt to save his son twice. Stopped him from a Marine. So he's like, Smoker, Smoker was like, what are you doing here? So he's like, Smoker's even surprised, like, why is Dragon in Logtown? Like, what's happening here? And then, then that Great Terminal situation, that was a very, very bad situation. And Dragon just, Deus Ex Machina and everything. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, compared to Shanks and all the pain and suffering Uta went to, Shanks didn't show up till the very, very end. As for Dragon, at least he showed up. And then there's obviously Sabo tax, right? So he cared about Sabo. Sabo has a move called Dragon Claw. Like, all these little things. Just so I feel like that alone would put Dragon, 8 or 9 around there.
Okay.
I agree. He's definitely below Shanks. At least he was trying to be like reactive, like to the situation, trying to help versus like, I'm just going to let it unfold and then show up.
Proactive.
Proactive instead of reactive. Like, I was like, damn, like that's Shanks is showing up. I got you. I'm
and
here.
And he knew where she was the whole time because he left her there.
He knew where she was.
Yeah.
He was the one who left her there.
And it's not like
Dragon's son is a pirate.
Yeah.
He had to find Luffy, figure out where he was at.
He knew exactly where she was.
Uta wasn't going anywhere.
He knew her P.O. box for her streaming services. Right. She said, "Send me P.O. box. I'm gonna
maybe
be."
He was subscribed. I don't know, to Uta's channel. I don't know.
A subscriber just left a comment in the chat.
Yeah.
Hey.
That'd be so fucked up if they had that. It's sort of like same thing in the One Piece world, and you find out that Shanks was not even subscribed. He's like, no, I didn't want to see her in my feed because it would have hurt me. He would have said some shit like that.
He would have said some shit like that, but then never would have subscribed in the first place because he didn't. Right. He forgot.
He forgot.
He would have found some like really cryptic message, like, "Oh my god, like the absence of a father makes her stronger, so she didn't need me in her life." So there's some stupid,
right.
soliloquy like that, like, "Oh, I'm the MC, look at me,"
And people in the comments would be like, "Who? That's a weird comment that guy left," but okay, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a random accounts. It's everyone on this crew are commenting as anonymous people, like stating a case for him, like how he wasn't actually bad.
Yeah, I'm so glad she can actually fulfill her dream now that she has the opportunity. It looks like it all worked. Life has a funny way of working out. Huh?
Even when those abandon you, you get stronger. It's like, okay,
exactly.
we know this is the crew.
All right, here it is, Judge.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is the guy I was saying that was going to give Morgan a run for his money because he did some pretty awful shit. I mean, he also imprisoned his child. Man in the Iron Mask situation, okay? Experimented on them, tried to genetically modify them, like really did some awful fucking shit. Similar, like you were saying, to others that come before him, other bad dads here. He was only interested in Sanji when it would benefit him, when it would benefit his position. And so I don't even want to take that as him caring for Sanji at all because he clearly didn't give two fucking shits about him.
Nope.
And so I that's why I think he's pretty up there. Mm-hmm. He's pretty up there, and he's got to be 1 or 2 for me. Mehgan, how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling, for sure. He's either 1 or 2. I mean, he to his own kids.
But that's the thing too. He had other kids.
It's the other kids.
Yeah.
That's the that's the balance between him and Morgan, right? Is that he cared about the 3 emotionless children. The whole big scene is like, oh, I love you kids. You're all strong, fast. That's the way I wanted you to be. And then Sanji's like, LOL, you're trash. Just go.
Yeah.
Go the cell or whatever.
And before it got that far, too, like, it's not even like in the case of, we can say that Sabo was rebelling, Yamato was rebelling, Helmeppo was kind of fawning over his dad, looking for his dad's approval. Sanji was kind of in the middle, I think, when he was like, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. When he was super young, super young, his dad just did not approve of him because of his own physical abilities and what he was able to do. And it wasn't until that Judge started like mistreating him that led to Sanji really seeing him for who he actually is and was. But it wasn't like Sanji initially was like rebelling. It was just that this experiment
it just didn't work on him.
Didn't take. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Where are you at, Jay? How do you feel about it?
So the more I think about it, like I was going to try my best to try and like justify why Morgan should be above Judge, because I think I left something out. Morgan said that he didn't even want to hit Helmeppo because he just thought he was so worthless. He's not even worth hitting.
Right.
And that's a really terrible thing to say. And then I remember that when Sanji escaped and he was running away and Judge was like, oh, thank God you're leaving. Yeah. Like, he kept him locked up in a prison for so long. And then he escapes and he doesn't even budge. He means he could have just let him leave at any time. But you chose to leave him with a helmet on. You watched your sons beat the life out of him day in and day out. And the time he wants to leave and kill you, he's like, oh, you're leaving? Great. Cool. Don't tell anybody we're related. I never want to see you again. Don't even say you're a Vinsmoke. You are the biggest regret of my entire life. And you leaving gives me joy. That is like,
my God. And it's like
horrific.
How much of that did he mean and was just like trying to get a rise out of Sanji for sure. But how scary is it that like if Sanji never tried to escape, never tried to get out, he would have been in that cell for the rest of his fucking life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
and that's the same
that's
thing.
crazy. Like, he would have kept him locked up. Like, I don't think he would have ever had him leave. But the fact that he escaped, he's like, okay, well, I wanted you to leave anyway. I hate you. It's like,
well,
what the hell?
That's what I think is so fucked up, incredibly fucked up. Because if Yamato, would have tried to escape and leave, Wano, Kaido would have not let that happen. Now, that doesn't make him better, but I just think that psychologically, it's so much more fucked for Vinsmoke Judge to keep Sanji in a cell when it doesn't even matter. That like it's no different. I mean, granted, he didn't like straight up murder him, but I mean,
but he said in so many words, if you die, I mean,
I
it'll
don't
probably
care.
it'll
Like
be
he
cool.
wasn't actively
cool.
like doing the murdering or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's so fucked up that it didn't even matter. He didn't even care. He could have been.
And then
free.
later on, he's like, "We're cool now because you're getting married. It's gonna be a good thing for our family."
Well, yeah. He's like when, someone achieves any level of success and then their deadbeat dad tries to crawl out of the woodwork and be like, I'm his dad.
It's me. That's my boy.
That's my boy.
Raised him right. Raised him right.
Yeah, Jay, that was a great point. That kind of broke my heart even when he was saying it right now because that's so incredibly fucked up. Which means for me, come on, Judge has to be one, right?
Yeah, he has to
he has to be.
I actually convinced myself. What a
That's
terrible
so
person.
funny. Yeah.
Like, there's no way. It's just no way he couldn't. He can't be. And all the other children. It's just like, I mean, Reiju saw it. She realized, like, damn, if I wasn't the way I was, I would be getting my shit rocked too.
Yep.
If I didn't turn out cool, like experimented on or whatever. But,
we're down to our final two.
These, I think, deserve to be at the bottom.
Yeah, these are just kind of thrown on here to kind of see where we land. I'm not saying that they necessarily deserve to be on here, but I just want to see. We got Garp up first, and the only reason I think Garp is added, well, actually, Mehgan, because I really don't like. Did Garp push Luffy? Yes, for sure, he did. Did he push a child? Did he hit this child?
He hit them a lot. I know. I get it.
It was out of love. I'm not saying that.
Out of love. Okay, they called it. Didn't he call it like love hits or whatever? I don't know what he called
love
it.
Tap. It was a love tap. Love tap.
No, I mean, if you really look at it, and Garp was he's dope. I love Garp, But when you're looking at it, like, he was a real big father figure to Luffy, whether like grandpa or just like a big family member to Luffy. But he straight up like beat the shit out of him all the time for the training. Like left him in the jungle to fend for himself, and then left him with like bandits to raise. He wanted like he let them raise that like his kids.
That was
like
pretty fucked up.
And thank God, but like, bro, like, you just left, like, oh, here you go. You guys like do illegal shit, but
and
watch
the
this kid.
The only thing I want to say, because again, like, it's any abuse is unacceptable for sure. But the only reason I'm trying to make any sort of case for Garp is just because like a lot of it felt like to me, sure, Luffy was a child, but a lot of it felt to me like it was in the confines of training, right? Like he wasn't like, no, I mean, like
he is. Go ahead, because I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, he wants this kid to be an athlete, let's just say, right? So it's like all of the abuse, quote unquote, was happening in the ring, I don't know. Maybe that's a bad way of explaining it, but it wasn't like he was taking out his anger or rage or disciplining him that way, or just like, I don't know. That,
There was times when he was training him, and there was times when like, Luffy, you're a dumbass, and just hit them at the fucking back of the head.
All
I'm
right.
like, damn, Garp.
All right.
If you really look at it, but there is a lot. He did toughen him up. He really did.
He really did.
But yeah, that it was just, when you really look at it, he just kind of dipped, and he was like always there. And then when he was there, he was like pressuring Luffy to be a Marine and do what I do, and like, Luffy's like, I want to be a pirate, and he's like, hell no, you're not, no way, you're not gonna. And he's like, but I want to.
Yeah, but that at least, right, is a dangerous thing. Pirates are not looked at as people who are good people. It's like,
I know.
It's like saying, like, Mom, I want to grow up to be a drug dealer. And he's like, I don't think that's cool.
Like, but there's some good ones. He's like, no.
There's some good ones.
I mean, it's not the same thing, but you know what I mean. It's not a great example, but and then I don't really give him too much. I don't give him too much of a hard time for his relationship with Dragon either, Garp, that kind of father-son relationship. But Jay,
yeah, how do you feel?
This one is tough because there's a fine line that we're gonna have to walk here. Josh, I saw you were really walking on the trapeze there.
I was trying.
You were really there. I was like, come on, fight, Josh. You got it. You're good.
Beads of sweat coming
out. As someone who comes from old school parenting, it's kind of just one of those things where it's like they didn't know any better, and then from how you were raised, it's how you raise your kid, but it's like to a lesser degree. And Garp gives me the textbook old school parenting vibe. So like when you're seeing all like the hitting and the training, this is coming from a place of a guy who's grown up in a very, very dark environment. And he was trained a certain way, and he wanted his son to be a Marine. So if with military dads and basketball dads, they always push their sons a little too far, right? But it's coming from
You're telling me that I had a military dad.
Exactly. So it's like you ask any daughter of a military dad, all of them. Like my best friend ever, my friend Valerie, she had a military dad. She'd tell me stories about military dads and all that stuff. So it's like there's a certain way they parent where from someone who comes from a less rigid old school household, you look at it and be like, oh my God, that's hell. And then to them, the actual child, they're like, yeah, it was bad, but he softened up later, and I turned out okay, so it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's not cool in the moment, but thank God we've learned, we've progressed, we don't do these things anymore.
Exactly.
But in today's society, back then, it's like, all right, Garp wanted Luffy to be stronger. He knew he wasn't in a place to raise him because obviously he's still a vice admiral, so he can't be there all the time. I understand the bandits thing, but if we were to switch this whole stream around and talk about best moms, you mean to tell me the Don is not top three, bro?
That's what I mean. Like, it is so conflicting because I'm like, they were bandits. It did work out for Garp. Like, what if they were bad? What if they're bad? They sold their shit. Like, what if they just like, we're gonna sell you kids and we'll just tell them that you guys got kidnapped or something? Like, crazy. That could have happened. But yeah, she's great. She's great. That's why I'm like, that's why he kind of obviously trusted the bandits, but. Anything could have happened.
At the end of the day, they're still bandits. Like leaving your son with a bunch of thieves and drug dealers. They just happen to be good drug dealers. Oh my God. What a luck of the draw, right? Yeah. The reason why I said it's I said Garp and Homing are kind of like two sides of the same coin because Garp's decisions, even though they were a bit negligent and ignorant, they turned out in his favor. Even though Luffy ended up being a pirate, Luffy isn't a terrible person.
Yeah.
Even Garp's like, all right, well, you're not a pirate, but hey, look at you, like you're freeing all these things. And I'm sure Garp is happy that Luffy's like running around. And if you look at the relationship, I think it's the relationship between Garp and Luffy and then him and Ace that you really need to look at.
Right.
Because, and this is actually going to go against Roger as well. Ace and Luffy love Garp, no matter what. You can see how they react.
Yep.
Ace grew up with daddy issues, period.
Yep.
His relationship with Garp is different. And I think what really won me over with Garp is that you know, remember that scene in the campfire in the ASL flashback where it's Ace and Luffy sleeping. And he's like, Ace, Luffy, you guys are going to grow up to be good Marines. You know, like he had a vision for his kids because he knew them being pirates, what that would lead to. He said, I want you guys to be Marines. That's what I'm training you guys to do. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. He tried to push them in the right direction, and eventually they made their own decisions, and he let them live with it. But we know Garp cared. And he cared about Dadan because he let Dadan survive. Like he could have said, all right, Dadan, you're going to prison. But the fact that he let them there means he knew they would take care of them. So Garp has that cognizance where I'm like, all right, his parenting style is a little bit wishy-washy, which is why he's on this list. But at the end of the day, Garp's parenting raised 3 great boys. And when Garp was on that scaffold with Ace, to this day, every time, I cry all the time in One Piece in 2 moments. When Dadan is beating up Garp for saying, why didn't you save Luffy? And when Garp is on that scaffold, crying like, Ace, why did you not listen to me? I told you to do this. I knew this would happen, and you didn't listen to me. And he couldn't do anything about it. I feel for Garp so much. He's my favorite character in One Piece, if you can't tell. I feel for Garp so much because his life is so rooted in the fact that he's the hero of the Marine, so he has a duty he cannot give up, but he still did his best to try and push Ace, Sabo, and Luffy in the right direction. So for me, I'd put him number 10 because Roger, even though he was never there, his actions directly affected his child in a very, very and that's where I'm like, what's the result of your actions and how did you affect your children? I just feel like Garp affected his children in a way better manner than Roger. So I would put Garp 10.
I absolutely agree. And I agree, dude. And you're absolutely right. The whole Marine Ford stuff, like when Garp was reacting to anything, it was ripping me to shreds.
I know.
Like
Luffy and Ace, so I was like, oh my god, this is so horrible, this is awful. But just Garp, seeing both of them in that situation, like, you know, not only is Ace here, but like Luffy's here. Like, why are you both even here? Like, what is going on right now? I can't do shit about this. Like, two of the closest people to me that I've seen grow up and raise are like getting their shit rocked right now. Like, this is heartbreaking. Like, what is happening? Oh, damn. That was rough. But I would say 10 for Garp too. Yeah. Even though he was a little wild and like back in the day on his kids. Bah, bah, bah.
Well,
he visited Ace in prison too.
Yeah.
He visited him in prison.
Yeah. That brings us to Gold D. Roger.
The one who started it all.
Is ending our list. And we can still go back and rearrange some stuff if we need to. But yeah, where do we? I mean, he's definitely going to fall on the lower end of this list, but and honestly, it might end up being 9. But I do think that's another great point that Jay made about him sort of, even though it was, I guess it wasn't as indirectly as I might have initially thought it was. It was pretty directly in the sense that he knew he was having a kid, and it was very important to him to start this age. And for his will to live on, and whether he knew his son was going to want to follow in his footsteps, become a pirate or not, like his son was going to have to live in a world that was full of pirates, a world that was almost at a certain point started to feel like it was run by them, you know. And so he did kind of do that. But do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, you know, he did know, but at the same time, like, again, absence, he wasn't there. Like, that's even kind of, you know, bad too. It's just like he sacrificed himself and put his son in this position. where the Age of the Pirates and all that, but also like you have your dad being one of the biggest names in pirate history, and he's the reason why everyone's having a hard time. He's the reason why my dad died, because pirates killed him. Your dad's the reason why all of this shit
of everybody.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, and like Ace didn't even know the guy. Ace didn't even get a chance to even like see if he was a good person or not. He just heard stories from other people, and that's what was shitty. Just like idea of him.
That's a great point you made too. He made just regular people who don't like pirates. Like, of course they're gonna hate Ace because of who his father is. Then other pirates are gonna either see him as someone they could take advantage of or someone that is direct competition to them because of who his father. I mean, put him in a really bad spot because of all that. And people can speculate about what kind of dad he would have been if he would have lived.
I mean, he probably would have been a good dad. What do you think, Jay? You're a decent
dad.
Yeah, I think so too. But we're not here to talk about that.
We're not here to talk about decent dads, are we?
He died. So what about you, Jay?
This is splitting hairs because it's unfair. It's definitely unfair, but he's here, so I can spin whatever I want to spin. So in this case, you knew you were having a kid, and for whatever reason, you knew you were dying. I don't know how long he had left, but you're saying to Garp, "LOL, I'm dying. Take care of my kid," and you didn't write him a letter. I like to use Jane Frixis from Hunter x Hunter as a good example. Jin was never there either. He just left Garp alone and said, "Oh, okay, you got it." Jin was bad, but he left his son tapes, a video game. He left him shreds to go find him. Roger left nothing.
That's a
but
great
bitterness and hatred in Ace's heart. And Ace grew up angry because everyone around him said, "F Roger. If I saw his son, I'd kill him. He's trash. He's garbage. Roger did this or Roger did that. Roger did this," to the point where the kid himself has no identity outside of his father's hatred that spread all across him, to the point where he laments that his father was Roger. He hates Roger with everything he has, and it never changed. The fact that Roger's mortal enemy became his father is a testament to how bad of a father or bad of an image Roger left on Ace's legacy, Ace's life. And while it's harsh on Roger, your duty to your child is to be a good example. Roger was not a good example for Ace. Point blank, period. Garp was a good example. Roger was not. But we leave Roger 9 just because he didn't really get a chance to really parent. And we do think he would have been a decent parent if he was alive. But we got to look at the facts and come to a decision. And my decision is he's trash.
Honestly, that nothing, like, that's such a fucking awesome and great point. He could have left him some sort of something, gave him some sort of guidance.
He could have left him the One Piece.
He could have done anything.
I'm leaving the One Piece to my son. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And it should have ended there.
That's right. That's Roger's last words, guys. Yeah. Find the One Piece and give it to my son. Yeah.
Oh God, that's even darker. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's sad, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now knowing everything.
But that was a great case that you made. All right. So how are we feeling about everything and everyone's position?
Okay. So number 2 and 3. How are we feeling about that still? That is one, I think, out of the list that I'm kind of conflicted in.
2 and 3?
Yeah.
Like Morgan being worse than
Kaido and Morgan.
Kaido.
Who's above? Do we think Kaido's above? Do you think Morgan is number 2? What do we think? It's hard.
I think Kaido. I think for Morgan, he just has the benefit of not being in the story that long.
Yeah.
So you didn't really see his laundry list of terrible things. While Kaido, you just got a whole backstory of him being a horrible father. Even in Wano, they fought, and he's like, you know, Yamato, and they fighting, and then he just clubs her again. Like, it's just like,
yeah, because we did kind of. I guess I see what you're talking about now too, Mehgan. I mean, on one hand, I do like the way it is, because we did get to see Kaido do way worse, and then there was that line about Morgan saying to Helmeppo, like, I would hit you, but I don't even think you're worth.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm not even gonna respect you that much.
Yeah.
Like Kaido at least fought Yamato.
Yeah.
And acknowledged Yamato's strength, like to an extent. And Morgan said, "You're nothing. You're trash."
So then by that,
yeah,
because you're saying that Morgan is worse and deserves to be. You're convincing yourself.
Morgan is a worse person
myself.
for sure. I think he's a worse person than Kaido. I generally believe so. Because at least Kaido at some point had a little pep in his step. You saw his backstory. You understood. Morgan was just garbage from beginning to the very end of his story. Like, just absolute trash.
You know what? I'm actually pretty happy with this.
I am too. I mean, the Morgan and Kaido debate is very interesting. It's very interesting because on one hand, I mean, Kaido did a lot of bad things to a lot of people, but at the end of the day, I mean, and to his own kid, but to say, you know, I'm not even gonna touch you because you're that much of a piece of trash. You are a what is it called? An X on my records. Like, I don't why a stain. Yeah. You're a stain on my life.
Yeah, my legacy.
Yeah, Kaido was like, you know, even though we've been through so much shit, like, you're still gonna get my seat at the end of the day. Like, at the end of the day, if I'm gone, like, you're the next in line, pretty much. And Morgan would never say that shit.
Yeah.
Never on his life. He would never say that to Helmeppo.
Yeah, I'm cool with this.
I'm cool with it, too.
Jay, how are you feeling about everything? Is there anything you want to switch around?
I am, at first glance, I'm okay. I'm just making sure
yeah, for sure,
that I'm comfortable with everything that we're at because homing. I feel bad for him.
I do feel bad for him too.
I just feel bad for him because I know he cared. That's the thing, is like, he cared. And to be fair, he was 1 for 2.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He was 1 for 2. So it's like, that's fair.
But my thing with homing, I keep going back because we're looking at like 6 down, especially when we get to like Yasop and Shanks and Dragon. It's just like you said, absence, right? Homing was present in his family's life, so he at least does that. He's not abusive. But all he could have done was he could have just done a little bit more research. He could have just put in a little bit more effort to protect his family. Like you said, I love the thing that you're saying about ignorance being like, you know, it's not a crime, but I mean, it is like, you know, it's not something that you could just easily excuse or use as an excuse to justify putting your entire family at risk.
I mean, yeah, it's like if Yasop left, obviously I'm not making any excuses for this man leaving his family, but he knew if he was going to go on the sea, he couldn't bring his 1-year-old son or baby son and wife on the ship with him because it's dangerous. Shanks too. I mean, that was the main reason why. The whole thing is like, Luffy, you know, you're not ready yet. I'm not going to bring you on the ship. Uta kind of just like fell into his lap. So he was like, okay, well, now I kind of have to do this. He wouldn't have picked up. He wouldn't have with
Sabo and Dragon.
Exactly. He would have never picked up Uta and been like, you want to come on my ship and be my daughter? Like, it just kind of happened for him. Exactly. That's the only reason why he was ever a dad figure in the first place. And he still ended up trying to go save Uta and be there for Uta till the very end, you know, as a dad. But homing, I mean, he put his family, he put everyone at risk for his own beliefs and what he thought was going to be okay.
Is actually the best case in my mind because they like, it's like if homing's version of wanting to go live with the people was like him going to sea. And he just took everybody with him and put them in that danger. At least, you know, Yasop and Shanks were like, yeah, it's probably going to be pretty dangerous. Like, not that they had any intention of ever bringing, you know, their children out to sea with them if they found everything to be safe. But at least they had enough forethought to go like, it's dangerous. I'm going to leave my kids out of it. Homing didn't even have that, you know?
Yep.
Jay got me on the homing hate train right now.
For real.
I've hated him for a while. I'm like, ever since Dressrosa, I'm like, this guy's garbage. Oh my God. Just he pissed me off so badly. Because it's like, this was one of those things, it's like, yo, common sense has to be there. Like, there has to be some sort of cognizance, common sense, anything. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe the only thing is that because the Celestial Dragons literally live in a completely different reality, you would think, okay, you can cut them some slack. But if you live in a different reality, your mindset is based in that different reality, which is what Doflamingo was. Doflamingo could be excused for his atmosphere. if you have the common sense to say, hey, we shouldn't keep slaves, we should beat children, we shouldn't do all these horrible things, you would think, okay, if we're doing all these terrible things and the world knows what we are, maybe the common man wouldn't like us either.
Yeah.
You would think that.
And you wouldn't blame them for not liking you, you know?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or try to change their mind. I mean, it's like you're coming down here and you represent all of them. You being here represents all of the bad things that they do.
Yeah.
And even though you don't do it, or even though you'd want to change, or even want to live with the people, it doesn't matter. We're still gonna we're gonna get you, unfortunately, and your children.
And it wasn't like he was on some crusade or campaign to convince the world of his kindness. Like he just said, I'm gonna just move in.
Yeah,
and I'm just
low key,
mind my own business.
I'm gonna mind my own business. I'm not gonna ruffle any feathers. Like, damn, dude, put out a statement.
Here's a really, really wild comparison to real life to really put this into context. So just brace yourself for this one because it's aggressive. Imagine, you're still in slave times, right? This is Black History Month, so I guess it's relevant. You're still in slave times. And one of the slave masters says, you know what? I'm going to live in a black neighborhood because I don't like slavery. So the slave masters, they're literal slave masters. And they say, I'm done, I'm retiring. You go and live in a black neighborhood. And you take your sons with you. And one of your sons still is super racist.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, I just like, do you know how insane that sounds? Like, think about all the terrible stuff. Which is actually a good one-to-one comparison because they're basically just slave masters.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's no other reaction you're going to get but absolute violence and vitriol and nothing else.
Yep.
They're lucky they survived. I don't know how they survived. Personally, I don't know how they survived.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great comparison because, I mean, like you said.
Doflamingo. Yeah, exactly. He was just a little shit.
Yeah.
He kept being a little shit, and
he was a little racist piece of shit.
But his dad's just so tone deaf. He's just like, I'm just gonna go down here, and it's gonna it's gonna be fine. And he really thought like he's so dumb. He really was dumb, and the shit that would come out of his mouth, I'd be like, what are you even saying right now? You're making no sense whatsoever.
Live with the people we've enslaved. We've taken their children from them, their loved ones from them. We've done the most awful things humans can do to each other to these people. But I'm pretty cool.
I'm cool. I'm a cool one.
I'm pretty cool.
I'm a good guy.
Yeah, I'm a good one. I'm a good one.
I'm a good one.
Yeah.
Oh God. But yeah, I do. He is definitely above Yasip Shanks. I think the bottom of the list is. It's the gradient of the worst through like the not so bad.
Yeah.
I think it's a good mix. But I'm good with it. I strongly believe Morgan over Kaido for what we discussed.
Cool.
And yeah.
Jay, you're good too?
Yes, sir.
Well,
we did it, you guys.
We did it. Vince Smoke Judge wins the mug.
Wow.
Wins the world's
Congratulations.
Worst dad mug. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was secretly pulling for myself, Vince Smoke Judge, to win.
To be bad.
It's not a competition that some people might want to win, but I count a W as a W.
There you go. We take those.
Yeah, we take those. But more importantly, round of applause to JD Legend. Dude, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a good sport, for hanging out. You really brought some incredible energy, some amazing points. You took this concept, elevated it. It was an absolute fucking pleasure to have you here. So thank you again.
Thank you.
No, it was definitely great. Thanks for having me, guys. And I'm glad I finally get to hang out with you guys and meet you guys. You guys are hilarious. Love the energy.
Thank you, dude.
Mehgan, the birthday stream, that Chopper song literally haunts me in my nightmares. The worst thing I've ever heard. My moms were like, yo, this is actually like torture. You strap me to a seat and I'll literally break it's terrible.
Bleeding out of the eyes and ears, just like, no.
Stop. That's so funny. Yeah, dude. And, anytime you want to come back, we would both love for you to come back anytime. And whether it be in another collab, a community live, anytime you want to hop on, do something together, Like we would love to make it happen. And I'm
guys
sure
definitely let me know.
I'm sure everybody watching would love to see it happen too.
Yeah, we'll work on our sketch idea.
Oh yeah,
Our sketch idea.
yeah. For those of you who don't know, I'm sure most people know, but if you don't know, Jay also did some fire sketches that you still have up on your main channel, right?
Yes, I do. Yep.
One Piece sketches. They're so hilarious, so funny. And we're just all trying to collectively sort of pressure him to get the ball rolling on those again. But they're so great. And of course, I mean, again, it feels silly because I do feel like most people know who Jay is. But just in case for some crazy reason you don't, he also discusses One Piece on his channel. An amazing One Piece YouTuber, an amazing YouTuber. I don't want to simplify it. So you could check him out. His the link to his channel will be in the description, in the title. You should be able to click it, all that good stuff. Please, this man is such an amazing presence and energy in this community that we're lucky to be a part of. So if you're not, for whatever reason, following, subscribing, go do that. Do that. I would say even before you subscribe to us.
Yeah.
But you better come back and subscribe to us right after. I swear to God. I swear to God.
Oy, I'm scared.
I swear, I'm Vince Smoke Judge. I will.
And I hate Sanji.
I will release all of Germa 66, everything that we have on you. Yeah, sorry, that was a little aggressive at the
wow,
end.
Wow, really good impression.
Sorry about that.
Scary.
Sorry about that. But thank you, thank you again, Jay. Is there anything else you want to say? Get off your chest. Anything at all? Before we let you go.
I guess the only plug I'd say is I'm working on a series that I've been doing for a while now. It's called One Piece is Real, where we break down real life, real world concepts and apply them to One Piece. And it's turned into like some bit of a therapy session for some people as well, because
I've seen those
to people. And it's big. I've had a few people on as well.
I saw one with Murphy, right?
Yes, that one was really funny, actually. She surprised me. I don't know if you guys have had Murphy on, but like,
we have.
She has a lot of personality. I was like, oh my
she's
God,
amazing. She's great. Yeah, she's great.
Hilarious. Yeah, so my whole community loved her. Like they immediately adopted her. So it's like, I definitely want to have you guys on for one because I think you'd be an awesome fit for the series as well. Yeah, we're on volume 5. It's a huge passion project of mine. Spent a lot of time on it. So if you guys haven't checked it out, definitely check out One Piece is Real. We're doing more things and. Yeah, that's the only plug I'd have. Otherwise than that, we still need to do that Chopper stream because I have a lot of very horrible takes about Chopper.
No!
You're really not. So.
I've gotten very passionate on others' channels about. I had like a Chopper notebook that I didn't write in until I had points to make for Chopper because all the Chopper haters, I had to say something. It's a
Chopper defense notebook.
Yeah, it's a Chopper defense notebook, and I went like bam, 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 like, and I have to prepare, and I have to gather my team to have a meeting, my legal team,
my legal team, because we're coming at you with everything.
I need it. We definitely need to have that court case. That idea you guys came up with is hilarious. Like even my moms are like, all right, we're gonna come up with a case file. I have my closing argument ready.
If we're gonna do it, we got to do it all out like that.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
For sure.
Suits and ties and everything.
Suits and ties are a must. Well, round of applause. Thank you again, Jay. Thank you guys
so much
for watching. The only thing left to do now is to get out of here on our outro that is always the same and never changes. I don't know if you know about this, Jay, but we say that every single episode, and it does. I'm going to spoil something. It does change.
Oh my God.
It does change. We come up with a new outro on the spot every episode, which, you think is like fun in concept, but it actually tacks on a couple minutes to the end of an episode. And sometimes you want them to be shorter and more concise,
Yeah.
Logistically.
It's the charm.
But it's the charm. But it's the charm. So it could be anything we covered today. Worst dads or like.
Bad dads unite.
Bad dads unite.
Bad dad check.
That's pretty funny. Bad dad check. Okay. I like that was not as good.
Cringy. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Bad dad check.
Yeah, it's not as good. I'm not a big fan of that one.
Okay.
Bad dads unite. And it just could be anything.
It could be anything.
I don't mean to put the pressure on you, Jay, but if you have any ideas, feel free to spitball. And we leave all the thinking in too. That's
drag on.
Dead beats assemble. I don't know.
Dead beats assemble. Wow.
Like
on the first.
I like it.
That was good.
Okay, so I'm gonna say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Until next time, and then we'll all three say Deadbeats Assemble. All right? So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you again, Jay, for being here. And until next time, Deadbeats Assemble!
Assemble!
Let's go!
I can't wait for. I'm gonna imagine dragging me through. Teach the shit out of the gaffer. No words. Just